Los Angeles. I'm not sure quite who posted this thing to begin with, but it is just overtaken the internet like nobody's business. It's an audio clip, and depending with the speed that you hear it and your own audio processing, your auditory senses, you either hear Laurel or Yanny. And I think the general consensus here in studio is it's Laurel. How about you, Jason?
I've heard both. Originally, I heard Yanny. That was for the first day or so. I was hearing Yanny, and then it switched to Laurel. Now this morning, I'm hearing Laurel. But I've also heard Yanny as well. It depends. Mostly when I hear it on a phone, it's Yanny, and when I use my studio monitors, I do hear Laurel. But it was a clip posted by an 18-year-old high school student from Lawrenceville, Georgia, a guy named Roland Zabo. He put it on Reddit, and what he had done was he was on vocabulary.com, and he was looking up the word Laurel, and he played the pronunciation for the word Laurel. And he heard Laurel, and I think a friend heard Yanny. And so they posted it online, and it was on Reddit for a little while. And then one of these quote-unquote social media influencers posted it on Twitter and Instagram with a poll, and that's when it took off and took the internet by storm.
Isn't it funny how we tend to glom onto things like this? This is not unlike, what color is that dress anyway? Remember that?
Exactly. This is that for 2018, and it's I think, much needed distraction from all the craziness of politics and everything going on in the world, where everything's very stressful these days. We need some kind of escape. We need something stupid to focus on for a little while. But in its stupidity, I mean, ABC's Alex Stone and I were almost coming to blows over whether or not it was Yanny or Laurel.
Really?
So it's still he was very upset at me. He did not understand how I could possibly hear Yanny. But that's just how my brain heard it.
Well, yeah, I understand that. I mean, we had our producer, Willie Springer, kind of find the slower version. It sounds like if you hear it, a slower version of same, it sounds more like Yanny than Laurel. By the way, Yanny's got to be loving this because, frankly, I haven't. For all I knew, he was retired, but apparently, I guess he's still out there performing.
No, there was he tweeted and from a private plane. So Yanni's doing pretty good.
Okay. So.
He tweeted playing the clip and laughing, and he said Yanny.
I wonder if he bribed this kid down in Georgia to do this, just to keep his career going.
It's very possible because it's done pretty well for him.
All right, so what else have you got for us this morning? I mean, we've got a couple of tentpole movies, and I actually had a story yesterday talking about the box office that is just gangbusters this year compared to what it was last year. With all these films, because Deadpool's going to be opening up, and what's the other one? The Avengers? Not the Avengers.
Right, you've had Avengers, which has done fantastically. You've had Black Panther, which has done fantastically. Usually this early in the year, you don't get such huge blockbusters as we have had. And tonight, Deadpool opens, and that's going to be number one. It's going to knock Avengers Infinity War off the top of the box office. And do very well. And then next week you have Solo, a Star Wars story for Memorial Day weekend, which is going to do well. Although the latest tracking that I saw, the original tracking had that at around 170 million, and now I saw 130 to 150 million.
Wow.
So people aren't as excited maybe as they once were.
You know, the part that gets me too is that you start seeing these movies, they come out, and then they go to China. And China is just such a huge market for films.
Second biggest right now, yeah.
Exactly. And what happens is it just takes the box office receipts and it either makes it skyrocket or tank, one or the other. But mostly it seems like the Chinese are really interested in a lot of American product, and as a result, they tend to bump the figures up just off the charts.
Well, and what was very interesting about Avengers Infinity War is it did most of its damage at the box office without even China. It just opened in China last weekend, where it had the second biggest opening ever, over $200 million, which is fantastic. But it got to $1.4 billion before even getting to China, which just shows how big the worldwide market is now, which has been the case for a while. But when they make films, yes, they're worried about what's going on in the U.S. and North America, but the rest of the world is a big, big consideration for Hollywood.
You know what? If I was an actor and then somebody came to me and said, okay, we're interested in a bit role for you, Deadpool, Avengers, I'd say, okay, I'll go for a lesser amount of money, but I want a percentage. Because, I mean, it's almost like writing yourself checks for the rest of your life, if you think
yeah,
about it.
Yeah, but only the big name actors can actually do that, though. That's the sad part about it. Is the Robert Downey Jr.'s of the world.
Yeah.
Those guys, those are the only ones who can demand some part of the back end. They know, the studios know how valuable that back end is.
So what you're saying is on the set,
they're not giving it up.
What you're saying is on the set, I might have a chair with my name misspelled on it, and I get a check every once in a while.
100%.
Yeah. All right. Jason, thanks so much. Have a great day.
You too. Take care.
Jason Nathanson, ABC News Entertainment correspondent from Los